start with a flea flicker to open up the night. And he connects with Galladay.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Flea Flicker with Joey D and Timmy B. We're going to be talking Week 8 of the NFL season, and we have a guest today. Joe, a couple of weeks ago, we had my brother, Craig. Now it's time for your brother to join us on the show. Joe, I'll leave you to the introductions.
Absolutely. Well, coming all the way to the Flea Flicker from the plains of the Serengeti in West Virginia, we got my little brother, Jon-Michael David Dennis, coming in to talk a little bit about the Eagles and Cowboys game tonight and go over his picks. Jon-Michael, thanks for being with us. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Joey D and Timmy B, for having me on the show. This is when I wish my name were Johnny D, but that's our dad.
There we go. That would have been nice.
Yeah, but love the show, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, and if you want to be like Jon-Michael, definitely like this video and then comment your picks. Subscribe to the channel if you want. We all appreciate all of your support doing this, but let's just hop in. The Thursday night football game, we got a little bit of a rainstorm down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we got rained on our pick. We picked the Panthers. We all picked the Panthers, starting off 0-1 as the Falcons finally didn't blow a fourth quarter lead. They had that high 90s win percentage. Everybody was getting worried on Twitter, but they pulled through. Teddy Bridgewater got, slammed to the ground a couple of times. Then he threw a bad interception late to clinch the game. Falcons win 25-17. Joe, we'll just kick it off with you first. What were your thoughts from this Falcons win?
Yeah, I mean, the Falcons really decided Curtis Samuel, who loves to vulture Mike Davis's touchdowns. Oh, God, I hate that guy. But outside of him, in the first quarter and into the first half, they had 14 points on the board, and then just weren't really able to get going from there. Their defense could not stop Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. I think he had like 7 catches, over 130 yards. So, I mean, definitely good game by the Falcons. Their offense came out hot, and even with a couple injuries on defense, Bladray Wilson stepping up, able to make the game-sealing interception. Just very physical game, a divisional game. So not really surprised that, it was close and it went the other way. But, yeah, this is a game I would have liked to see the Panthers win.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, Curtis Samuel did score a touchdown on a flea flicker, so we had that going for us. Shout out to Curtis Samuel. But my big thing was after Calvin Ridley got injured, the Panthers defense contained Julio Jones. I believe he had 80 or 90 yards in the first quarter or first half. Once Calvin Ridley went out, the Panthers defense did a great job in shutting it down. And that's kind of the point of the Falcons offense, with all these weapons being like, hey, you can shut down Ridley or shut down Julio. The other one's just going to ball out. But when one is injured, it's a lot easier to cover. But Jon-Michael, what were your thoughts from Thursday night Falcons-Panthers?
You know what? I gotta just give a shout out to the Falcons. Respect the completion, finishing strong that game. I didn't actually watch it. Thursday nights are kind of a wild card night here in West Virginia, Morgantown, getting lit. But, following in Pat McAfee's footsteps, just like you guys with the podcast. But I wish I had seen it because it sounds like it was an outstanding game. I love seeing a good comeback and a good underdog win. And, I wish I had thought the Falcons were going to win, maybe even put some money on it, but no.
Panthers have always been me and Jon-Michael's number 2 team since we grew up in North Carolina. Jon-Michael had a Steve Smith jersey growing up, so I know he was hoping the Panthers were going to pull it out.
I mean, Steve Smith was probably better on the Ravens. But that's another conversation for another day. But I found it out interesting that the Panthers are like 1-6 in their last Thursday night home games. They're like the one team that just can't win at home on a short week. So I found that to be an interesting stat, which I knew that before this game, but I think that wraps it up for Thursday night football. Are you guys ready to make some picks for Sunday and Monday?
Oh yeah.
Perfect. Let's kick it off with the first game. We got the Indianapolis Colts at the Detroit Lions. The Colts are a 3-point road favorite. The over-under is at 49.5. Jon-Michael, we'll kick it off with our guest first. What are your thoughts from Colts Lions, and who's your pick?
All right, Colts Lions. I might have to go with Lions here. I'm a big Matt Stafford guy. I really respect the guy. He's been making some plays. He's taken a lot of hits this year. So I'm just gonna warn all the listeners now that I'm a casual fan. So I don't know every team and all the stats of every team. So
That's
how
fine.
good is this Colts defense? That's the
Colts
question.
Colts defense.
That's a good
has
question.
They have been statistically one of the best in the NFL this year, but they've been kind of inconsistent. You know, some like I guess against the Jaguars, they let up a ton of points. You know, Phillip Rivers has turned the ball over a lot. Against the Bengals, they were down 21-0, but were able to come back. So it should be an interesting game. It's definitely an interesting matchup because Colts are clearly not as good as we expected them to be to start the year. And I think the Lions are one of those teams where if they get hot at the right time, you know, they can put some wins together behind Matt Stafford. So I don't hate the pick, Jon-Michael. Lions definitely have a shot. I'm probably going to go with the Colts in this one.
All right. I think it depends on Kenny Galladay balling out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
He's had some great weeks. He's had some weeks off, but when he's doing great with Matt Stafford, I don't know. They have that connection sometimes. So do we go with scores or we just go with who wins? And that's
just straight up. If you want to go score if you can, but we just take winners here.
I'm gonna go score for the Sunday night game. That's
okay.
Nice.
We'll get there when we get there.
Joey D, any other thoughts from what you just said? And you said you were going Colts, or you're going to flip-flop to the Lions?
I am going to go with the Colts. I mean, you know, they've got to get their receivers like T.Y. Hilton involved, and you know, really just get some more points on the board. I mean, that defense can't win it all for them. So that's really what's going to come down to. You know, how many points can the Lions score against this defense, and how many points can the Colts, you know, kind of depleted and pedestrian offense put up against, you know, an average Lions team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with the Colts as well. I've been saying it. I don't think the Lions are that good of a football team. They're, you know, great on paper, bad on the field. I really think the Colts did figure it out during their bye week last week. I think Phillip Rivers and that offense will come out a little bit strong. Their ball-hawking secondary is going to get a couple of turnovers on Matt Stafford, and Colts are going to win a close game. It's going to be a close one, but the Colts are going to win. And now, after that, we are moving to Cleveland, you know, America's greatest city, some would say, to the Las Vegas Raiders. Are going on the road to the Cleveland Browns. Browns are a 2.5-point favorite. Over under is 49.5. Joey D, thoughts on your pick for Raiders Browns?
Yeah, I know a couple weeks ago when who was playing the Rams, and we were talking. I guess the Bears were playing the Rams, and we were talking that was a good kind of measuring point for how good teams are in the NFC. I think that the Raiders are kind of a similar team to the Rams in terms of, you know, if you can, like, the Raiders are a good team. You know, if they're not one of the best, but they're also not one of the worst. I think they have a chance to make it in the playoffs. I think that this game is, you know, a huge game for Cleveland to really, you know, find out if they are legit, especially after, you know, getting waxed by Pittsburgh a few weeks ago, coming off a big win without Odell Beckham. It'll be really interesting to see how Baker Mayfield does, you know, spreading the ball around a little bit more like he did last week. But I'm going to go with the Raiders in this game. I think that their offense is going to be able to do enough against the Browns defense. We haven't seen Josh Jacobs really take over in quite some time this year. So I think that they're going to be able to make some plays on the ground against the Browns D. And you know, I think it'll be a high scoring game. I think it will be a shootout because the Raiders defense isn't that good. Baker Mayfield might start to get hot. So I'm going to go with a high-scoring game with the Raiders pulling it out.
Love that. Jon-Michael, thoughts and who you got in this game?
Well, I love seeing Baker Mayfield play, and I'm excited to see what he can do this week. But I'm also going to go with the Raiders here. Every time I've watched them this year, they've just, blew my expectations away. I never expect to see the Raiders perform the way they're performing this year, and I like it. And, you know, kudos to them. Keep it up. I want to keep seeing it.
Jon Gruden.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go with the Raiders as well. And Joe, you nailed it. And we've been saying it for a couple of weeks that the Raiders is a good, you know, measurement for the Browns. I think the Raiders are probably going to end up around 8-8, pretty average football team. So if the Browns can beat them in convincing fashion, then I'll consider the Browns more of a threat, let's say, for making a deep playoff run. Definitely not the division. But I think the Browns will be considered more legit if they were to beat the Raiders, and especially in a dominant fashion. However, I'm going to go with the coaching experience of John Gruden. He's going to have his team more prepared. They got to get Josh Jacobs going, especially against this good defensive line of the Cleveland Browns. I'm going with the Raiders, so we're all in the Raiders. So that's going to be interesting. And now we mentioned the Rams. Joe, you mentioned the Rams. They're playing at the Dolphins. Tua's, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. His first start in the NFL comes up against Aaron Donald and the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are a 3.5-point road favorite. Over-under is at 45.5. Joey D, we'll kick it off with you again. Give us your thoughts and who you got in this game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be paying attention in this game to see how Tua looks. I mean, it's going to be tough for Tua to come in kind of cold, not really, he hasn't played at all this year outside of, some garbage time at the end of, 2 weeks ago before their bye. So that'll really be what it comes down to. Can Tua be an upgrade over Ryan Fitzpatrick? Is he not turning the ball over? Is he not taking sacks and, getting the ball to Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parker, Preston Williams? So I think that's what it's going to come down to, how much of an upgrade Tua can be over Ryan Fitzpatrick, because this Rams team is vulnerable. They're not I don't think they're as good as their record suggests. So I do think the Dolphins have a shot in this game, especially if Tua can exceed some expectations. But right now, I'm going to kind of go with the experience of the Rams. Jared Goff has been their starter for a while. Sean McVay has been their head coach for a number of years. Aaron Donald has been dominant, while the Dolphins still have, a second-year head coach, first-year quarterback, a couple free agent pieces. They haven't really gotten all that chemistry together yet, but I do think they're on the upswing. I do think that if Tua plays well, it'll be close. But right now, I'm going to stick with Aaron Donald and the Rams to make life difficult for Tua Tagovailoa. Although his younger brother at University of Maryland balled out last night, 5 touchdowns, game winner in OT.
Yeah, shout out to his brother for winning one for Maryland, against Minnesota. Probably going to be our only one of the year, maybe, but for your Terp fans out there. But Jon-Michael, your thoughts and who's your pick in Rams-Dolphins?
I think Joseph covered a lot right there.
He did.
He pretty much, said it all. But I think, it's going to be exciting to see Tua play. His first game with Aaron Donald in his face, though, I'm not so sure how he's going to be able to handle that one. I want to see this as like a preseason game for Tua, kind of. He's gonna be gauging the league, gauging the speed and everything, and I want to see him perform well. But I think I'm going with the Rams as well.
Going with the Rams. All right, let me write that down. Yeah, this one is such an interesting choice for me because in like week 4, week 5, when the Seahawks went on the road to Miami, the Dolphins, contained Russell Wilson, and the Seahawks got a couple of late touchdowns to kind of put it away, 14, 17 points. So, but the Dolphins were in it that entire game. Coming off the bye, I think their defense will be prepared. If Fitzmagic was the quarterback, I'd probably be picking the Dolphins. I know we talked about this, Joe. I'm on Team Fitzmagic and keeping him in there. I think he is your best option to win. But on the flip side, I'm very excited to see Tua because obviously starting him means that they really think that this is special and he can really elevate that offense a little bit more than Fitzmagic did. But I just can't trust Tua in his first start, especially against this Rams defense. Jalen Ramsey, ball hawking in the secondary, Aaron Donald being in his face. I think Tua is going to have a couple of rookie mistakes and a couple of rookie turnovers to give the Rams a short field. Again, I think this will be a close one, but the Rams are going to pull out victory. I really want to pick the Dolphins, but I just can't, put my trust into Tua just yet. So hopefully the Rams can pull out the victory. That way we all don't look stupid when Tua balls out. So I'm going with the Rams as well. And now we're moving to a game that I would hope we're all unanimous on. The New York Jets at the Kansas City Chiefs, the worst team in football going against the best team in football. The Chiefs are a 19.5-point favorite. Over-under is at 49. Do we even need to talk about this? We're going with the Chiefs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chiefs.
Yeah, it's the Chiefs. I think the only real storyline to watch for here is the Le'Veon Bell revenge game. He's got, a week now under his belt with the Chiefs offense. He got some playing time last week and looked good. So I think that rather than, work Mahomes' arm, work Clyde Edwards-Helaire's legs, let's let Le'Veon kind of have his revenge game, ball out. They'll put up points and they're going to win by a lot. But I think Le'Veon's also going to have a really good game.
Yeah, I'm with you, especially, I don't want to say garbage time, but once they go up 25, 30 points, they're going to rest Edwards-Helaire, just let Le'Veon Bell eat out the clock. So we're all riding the Chiefs. I think that's enough talking about the Jets and Chiefs. Now we're moving on to a fun little divisional game. We have the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers going to Lambeau Field, a rematch from Week 1. The Packers are a 6-point home favorite, and the over-under is at 50. Jon-Michael, we'll kick it off with you first. Thoughts and who you got in Vikings-Packers?
I haven't seen the Vikings play much this year, but I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers guy. I have a lot of respect for him, especially this season, and I've just loved seeing him ball out, and I can't wish any losses against him. I'm going with the Packers.
Awesome. Joey D, thoughts and who you got?
Yeah, we got Dalvin Cook back this week against the Packers.
Okay.
And their run defense is one of the worst in the NFL. I know it's not 32nd because that's the Cowboys. So I want to say that they're like 31st or 30th. So I think Dalvin's going to have a good game. Jair Alexander has really been stepping up this year. I think last year he had like a couple plays. He had allowed over 20 yards during the season. This year he hasn't allowed any. He's been having a really good year, so I think he's going to shut down Adam Thielen. It's going to be hopefully not too much of Justin Jefferson to make me suffer even more. I think the Green Bay, they're just riding strong right now. They're on a hot streak. Vikings are in sell mode. It's Kirk Cousins versus Aaron Rodgers. We all know how little I think of Kirk Cousins, so I think it's going to be the Packers, but I see this being a little bit of a closer game than people expect. I think that the spread is at like -4.5 or something like that for the Packers.
Packers by 6.
Packers by 6, yeah. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are going to be able to make it work. I mean, Devontae Adams after last week, he's just getting going. I think he's gonna keep that going this week too.
Yeah, and when we talked about this in Week 1, I believe I picked the Vikings, and I said, hey, Dalvin Cook is going to be running the ball. You got to get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands, which turned out to be true because every time he touched the football, the Packers scored a touchdown, and it was, like a 35 to 24 type of game in Week 1 with the Packers winning. And I think that's going to be the similar game plan for the Vikings, especially coming off after a bye, getting a little bit of extra rest. I think this is going to be a close first quarter, first half, but then Aaron Rodgers is going to pull away in the second half. I'm going with the Packers as well. Just can't pick against Aaron Rodgers right now. I can pick against Kirk Cousins, but hopefully Dalvin Cook comes back strong from missing a couple of weeks with this injury. So we're all picking pretty much the same team, so that's always good. But we're getting into some better games right now. I think this is one of the more interesting matchups that we're going to be talking about here today with the Tennessee Titans, a 7-point road favorite at Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. The over-under is currently 51. Joey D, thoughts from Titans-Bengals and who you got?
Yeah, it's Titans defense has not been good this year at all.
No.
And Joe Burrow has, just exceeded a lot of expectations he was the number 1 overall pick, coming off of, an outstanding year at LSU. So expectations couldn't really have been higher, but he's still kind of exceeding them with, very pedestrian talent around him in Cincinnati. Doesn't look like Joe Mixon is going to go this week. So they're not going to be able to, really get the run game going as much. They're going to ask Joe Burrow to throw the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, A.J. Green is starting to find his stride. T. Higgins is really picking up the offense, and Tyler Boyd continues to just eat up catches out of the slot. So I think that, the Titans are going to be able to make the Bengals a little bit one-dimensional in this game. And, the Bengals are going to have to be throwing the ball a lot. While on the other side, Titans have a guy named Derrick Henry going up against a not very good run defense in Cincinnati. So I think that they're going to be working Derrick Henry a lot this game and working the play action to A.J. Brown and Johnny Smith. Hopefully, those are all 3 of my fantasy players. So once again, my predictions always end up being a little skewed by my fantasy hopes. So
you got 4 teams, don't you?
I got 4 teams. Don't worry about Jon-Michael. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Tannehill is going to have a big game as well. I just don't like that Titans defense. So I like that 50-point spread, I guess. Or not the spread, the points for this game. You said was at 50.5, Tim?
The over-under is at 51.
Yes, 51. Yeah, I'd probably go with the over for that. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a really good game, but I think that, the Titans are just going to be able to run the clock and have a lot more time of possession in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Titans are going to win this game. I think it will be close, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think Joe Burrow is going to take advantage of that Tennessee defense a little bit. But my big thing is the Bengals offensive line is so bad, and we've seen teams, the Ravens, the Eagles getting to the quarterback, and with a great defensive line, like I said it for the Ravens-Bengals, we need to get to the quarterback. We got to the quarterback. So hopefully this could be a little pick-me-up for the Titans defensive line and Jadeveon Clowney to kind of get their mojo back and be the Titans defense that we all expect them to be. With that being said, I do think that the Bengals are going to put up some points and the Titans as well. I'm going to go with the Titans. Jon-Michael, your thoughts from the game and who you got?
You guys covered it all pretty much. I mean, Joseph, when you were talking, I really thought you were leaning towards the Bengals there.
That was close.
Yeah, talking up Cincinnati a good bit. And so I was excited to go with the Titans this game to, switch it up because we've all really been having the same predictions. But
you picked the Lions in the first game?
No, yeah.
I like it.
I'll come
if
out
you
on
pick
top.
the Bengals, you can go with the Kitty Cats, Lions, Bengals.
No, I can't switch up on my first instinct. I'm going with the Titans this weekend.
Love that. And now we're moving to Bills Mafia. Finally, they get to take on Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. This can definitely be the dethrone game in the AFC East. If you must, the Patriots are going on the road to the Buffalo Bills. Bills are a 4-point favorite. The over-under is a little low at 41. This is going to be a very defensive game. Bill Belichick hasn't lost 4 in a row since 2002. So it's been quite a while. So, Jon-Michael, are the Patriots going to lose 4 in a row, or are they going to pull out a win against Buffalo?
It's a rough one. I think they're going to lose 4 in a row, just to put it bluntly. I like the Bills this year. I like them a lot, especially at home. And gotta respect Belichick. And he's probably going to come back with a vigor this week. But is Cam's not playing, right?
He is. He got benched at the end of last week, after playing poorly. So that's, something to definitely keep an eye out for against this really good Bills defense.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jon-Michael. I'm going with the Bills as well. I do need to see more from that offense. Josh Allen's offense has been a little lackluster these past couple of weeks, and I do think that Bill Belichick is going to have a good scheme, against the Bills offense. So this is going to be a low-scoring game. This is going to be a squeaker, kind of like we saw last week against the Jets. It's going to be a 15-10, 15-6 field goal game. I just can't put my trust in this New England offense just yet, especially against a pretty decent Bills defense. So I'm going with the Bills. Joey D, thoughts on who you got?
Yeah, it's it's tough. Last week, I picked the Patriots to beat the 49ers because I really didn't think that Bill Belichick was gonna, lose 3 in a row and start off 2-4. It's so hard for me to pick against the Patriots, after all the years of greatness and dominance that we've seen. But I mean, based on what we've seen the last few weeks out of this Patriots offense, who are they throwing to? I mean, Julian Edelman's out. N'Keal Harry's out. I want to say their number 1 receiver is Jacoby Myers. And then 3 other guys whose names are really difficult to pronounce. I never even heard of them. So, I don't know how this Patriots offense is going to be able to move the ball and put up points. I do think it's going to be tough for the Bills on offense as well, going up against Bill Belichick, who's going to have some schemes, ready for Josh Allen and create some turnovers. I'm going to go with the Bills. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game, a lot of field goals. But you never know with Bill Belichick. This could be a game where he pulls out his bag of tricks, gets a divisional win and keeps them right in contention. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
All right, so we're all circling the wagons on the Buffalo Bills. And now we're moving to – this is game of the day. I think it's fair to say. The undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers are coming down here to Baltimore. The Ravens are a 4-point favorite. The over-under is at 46.5. We will kick it off to our guests first. We'll let you guys go first, and I'll go on my little Ravens spiel. So, Jon-Michael, thoughts on who you got in Steelers-Ravens?
I was also surprised that the Ravens are favored here.
And a better team.
I don't know.
I don't know. I want the Ravens to win this because I have a lot of Steelers fans friends, and they get on my nerves almost as much as Cowboys fans. But I think I just got to – I said to Joseph earlier this week, I want the Ravens to win, but I think the Steelers are going to come out on top. I'm sorry, Timmy B.
So we'll lock you in for Steelers. That's mistake. Joey D, thoughts and who you got?
Yeah, I mean, the last few weeks watching the Ravens, they've got the wins and they've put up the points. I mean, we talked about it when they played the Eagles. They just haven't really looked in sync, and I just don't know. I mean, when they faced the Chiefs, they didn't really show up, and that was a huge game there. They're winning the games that they should and putting up the points that they should, but it doesn't just look like the same dominant fashion that the Ravens had been going for last year and had kind of on their side last year, all the momentum, everything going their way. So right now, with the way the Steelers offense and defense has been playing, I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think it's going to be a good game. I wouldn't be shocked to see Lamar come out and ball. I mean, he's historically had some pretty good games against the Steelers. The Ravens are normally pretty good coming off of their bye. So I do think it's going to be a good game. I am surprised about the points. I mean, I would have expected the Steelers to be the favorite here with, how they're looking and, how they're
the better team.
I guess we'll see. I think it'll be a really good game. Like you said, game of the week, maybe after Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
I wish that this had been the Sunday Night Football game. They should have flexed it.
Yeah, same. So you guys all nailed it. The Steelers are undefeated. And again, like I said last week, I don't want to eat my words because I don't want to look like a fool in our recap after the week is over. The Steelers are a good football team. There's no denying that. But when you're playing the Broncos and the Eagles and the Browns and the Bengals, of course you're going to win these football games. And people are saying –
about the Titans?
Okay, man. People are saying, with the Ravens, they were like, wow, they almost blew the lead against the Eagles. So did the Steelers. The Eagles came back. The Steelers were up 17. The Eagles made it a game. Obviously not as close as the Ravens, but the Eagles did.
I think that's more of a testament to, the strength of the Eagles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're the common denominator there.
Yeah,
Hey, we'll get to y'all's game later, all right? Because you guys are Sunday Night Football.
I'm jumping ahead.
But even last week, they were up 17. In fact, they were even up 20 against the Titans. The Titans came all the way back, probably should have sent the game to overtime, and the Titans had the momentum. And, not saying that the Steelers shouldn't be undefeated. They should be. Anybody with that schedule should be undefeated, any competent football team. And I think the Ravens make sense being the favorite. We're the home team, so it's basically just the home field advantage. But we're just the better football team. And Joe, you said it that, we're not looking that dominant, but we're still averaging over 30 points per game. So I think, we're obviously not looking that dominant. My big thing is we saw in the Chiefs game that you said, Joe, Lamar looked like that he was trying to do everything himself. He wanted to win the game on his own. So hopefully that doesn't happen again because we saw, he needs to use his team. We have the talent placed around him. So that, to me, that's what we need to do. Lamar can't be running every time. He can't be, he needs to make smarter decisions. He can't win this himself, and hopefully he knows that. But after the bye, the Ravens, under John Harbaugh, the Ravens are 10-2, and we're outscoring our opponents like 380 to like 180. We're like plus 150 to 200 in that range coming off a bye. I think the bye came at the best time. I think this rescheduling really helped us out. I think had we played the Steelers right after we played the Eagles, it could have been an uglier game. And I think the Steelers might have won that. But coming off the bye, I got to go with the Ravens. I mean, I got to go with the Ravens anyways. Best rivalry in football. It's going to be fun. I'll be watching it with Josh tomorrow, so that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm going with the Ravens. We'll talk about that in our recap. Hopefully the Ravens win. I think we will.
Tim, real quick. What's your favorite memory of as a Ravens fan, Ravens Steelers game?
Ooh, there's so many good ones. I mean, where to begin? I can talk about, winning some close ones. I think there's so many games. I'll say I believe it was 2011, our first game of the year. We played the Steelers and we won like 35-7. We completely dominated. we were up like 28-7. On the extra point, we just decided to fake it, and we got like the 2 points. Absolutely dominant performance by the Ravens, and I think that was probably my favorite memory. There's so many to choose, though. I mean, 2003 when we beat them in overtime to win the division. 2000, the wild card where we just went in there and everybody thought we were going to win. We did. Winning games at Pittsburgh, with Sunday Night Football and Torrey Smith. So there's a lot of great games and a lot of great memories, but I really like that dominant performance in week 1. We just said, hey, this is our year. And it probably would have been if Lee Evans decided to catch a football or Billy Cundiff decided to make a field goal. But luckily, we won the year after.
I was watching like some highlights the other day of a game that you probably don't – it was not one of your favorite memories. I think it was the 2008 AFC Championship when Troy Polamalu just had that insane game against the Ravens. That play where he jumped over the line of scrimmage to stop Joe Flacco on the QB sneak. Had a sack, had a pick 6 to ice the game. It's just that was one of my favorite highlights to watch, just because I love watching Troy Polamalu and him ball out. Definitely a top safety up there with Ed Reed as well. Neither of them are at Brock Dawkins level. But,
all right. Ed Reed is the best safety in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, and going back to that game too, the fact that we had a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach, and until that pick 6, we were in a position to kick a field goal, send it overtime to win. So that was a disappointing loss for sure, but it gave us hope. Being like, all right, like we're back. Like we got a quarterback now. And now we actually have a quarterback. I mean, we went from the elite Joe Flacco to hopefully the elite Lamar Jackson. But let's move on to the 4:00 games. That way we can get to the game of the day a little earlier. We're starting off with the Chargers. They're on the road to the Denver Broncos. The Chargers are a 3.5-point road favorite, and the over-under is 44.5. So, Jon-Michael, let's kick it off with you first. Thoughts on who you got in Chargers Broncos?
Not much I can say, if I'm being honest. I think I'm just going to go with the Chargers. They're the favored, even on the road. They've been looking pretty good this year. The Broncos not looking that great. Yeah, I mean, I'm going with the Chargers as a casual fan. Yeah.
Hey, simple enough. Joey D, your thoughts on who you got in Chargers Broncos?
Yeah, I'm really excited to keep watching Justin Herbert. I mean, he's just been on such a hot streak since he became the starter. Finally got that first win last week, and this is another winnable game for him. It's going to be tough to run the ball, especially, without Austin Eckler and against a good defense in Denver and Vic Fangio. So I think that Justin Herbert is going to be asked to, kind of put this game on his shoulders and, keep making the plays he has been. And I think he's going to. Broncos are just dealing with so many injuries on offense and defense, especially on the offensive side of the ball, not as many threats at receiver. Is Philip Lindsay going to play this game? I know he was in concussion.
I'm unsure, actually.
I'm not sure. So, I mean, I just don't see the Broncos being able to put up the points that I think that the Chargers are going to be able to under Justin Herbert. If this is a good game, I think that's a real testament to Drew Lock being able to hang in there, without, all the weapons that he was expected to have to start the year. And I think it could be a close game with it being divisional. But like you said, I love what I'm seeing out of Justin Herbert. I think that he's going to be able to put the team on his shoulders and really continue to ball out and win the game.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun test for Justin Herbert and that Chargers offense. I'm actually going to go different. I'm going to pick the Broncos. I think Vic Fangio has a great defense in place. Now, we saw a couple of weeks ago that, they beat the Patriots on the road. And now that doesn't look as good, but they still stopped Cam Newton, especially coming off after a bye as well. And then last week against Mahomes, I mean, the Chiefs blew him out, but that's because they got a pick 6. They had a kick return touchdown. Mahomes only had 200 yards, and I don't know if he threw a touchdown or not. They all did it on the ground and from defense and special teams. So the Broncos defense is, I think, better than people are giving credit for. And I think they're going to they're going to cause some problems for Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert will make some plays, but I think the Broncos defense is just going to overwhelm him a little bit. So I'm going to go with the Broncos. It's going to be a close game for sure. And I like Brandon McManus a little bit better in the kicking game. So I think it could come down to that. So I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one. So that should be a fun game to watch. And now we're moving to the Windy City. From Mile High to Windy City, the New Orleans Saints are taking their talents to the Windy City, playing the Chicago Bears. Saints are a 5-point favorite on the road. The over-under is set at 42.5. Joey D, thoughts on who you got from Saints Bears?
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was 2013, when the Eagles went to the playoffs with Chip Kelly. Nick Foles was the starting quarterback, and we were playing New Orleans. The big kind of storyline from that game was that Nick Foles and Drew Brees went to the same high school. Nick Foles broke a lot of Drew Brees' records. And I think that's the reason why he originally was wearing number 9 when he came into the NFL and the Eagles.
Okay.
So I love that matchup. I love that storyline. I think that, these are two kind of similar quarterbacks in certain ways, but Nick Foles has just been way more inconsistent than Drew Brees has. The Saints are without a lot of weapons on offense. No Michael Thomas again.
Yeah.
Is Emmanuel Sanders playing? I don't think he is.
Not sure.
I don't think he is. And then last week, the receiver that stepped up for them, Marcus Callaway, undrafted out of Tennessee, he's going to be out this week. So there's going to be slim pickings for Drew Brees to throw the ball to, especially against this really good Bears defense. I just don't think that Nick Foles is going to be able to, put up enough points and, play clean football where he's not turning the ball over against the Saints. Saints defense hasn't been as good this year, so there are opportunities there. But the other thing, Allen Robinson is out and not going to play. He's also battling a concussion. That's really their only threat on offense right now. So while I think it's going to be a low-scoring, kind of an ugly game, these are the games that the Saints are, equipped to win. Games that, they've won in the past. I mean, they're a veteran team with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. So I think Kamara is going to get the run game going. And it's going to be an ugly game, but I think the Saints are going to pull it off.
Love that. Jon-Michael, thoughts on who you got?
I can agree that I think it's going to be an ugly game. I mean, with all the injuries. But I think I'm going with the Bears here. Just watching Drew Brees this year, he's not the same Drew Brees. He's not. I mean, he's making the plays, yes, but I just feel like his arm is just getting tired early. Nick Foles, like you said, he's kind of like the younger version of him. Maybe he doesn't have the weapons or the threats, but I mean, hey, Big Dick Nick,
But long Foles, baby.
It's hard for me to really pick this game again. I think there are some great matchups this week. Drew Brees outside isn't that good of a quarterback. He's really good when he's inside, at home, in the dome, or at the Falcons. So this is going to be interesting outside Drew Brees. I think the two big factors in this are the running game and I guess the running talent. I think Kamara is much better than Montgomery and the Bears back. So I think that'll be a difference factor. And then I trust the Saints defense more against Nick Foles and this lackluster Bears offense than I do with the Bears defense against a team with Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara, despite no Michael Thomas, no Emmanuel Sanders, and some other receivers being out. I like the Saints defense to contain Nick Foles a little bit more, so I'm going with the Saints, but this is going to be an ugly, ugly football game. If the weather, I don't know the weather in Chicago, but if that is bad, could be an ugly game for sure, but I got to go with the Saints on this one. I think they're going to be a little bit more prepared, and I think that Saints defense is going to come up big when it needs to. And now a fun game of the day, for the afternoon slate, we got the San Francisco 49ers going at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are a 3-point favorite. The over-under is at 53. The 49ers are kind of starting to look like what they used to last year, winning some games. But Joey D, we'll kick it off with you. 49ers, Seahawks, what are your thoughts and who you got?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 49ers are starting to get hot, especially in the run game. Kyle Shanahan has really just schemed up a lot of really good looks and really good plays to, just give his running back the ball in space, huge holes for them to run there. But, the issue for the Niners is who's going to be running the ball. I have no idea. I mean, it might be Tevin Coleman. If he's not good to go, Raheem Mostert's out, Jeff Wilson's out. I think it would be LaMichael Hasty. Against this Seahawks defense, which hasn't been as good, he could make some plays, but I think it's going to come down to Russell Wilson versus Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo just, throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage a lot this year, a lot of short passes. I don't think that the Seahawks are going to let that happen as much. You know, they're going to contain him. You know, they might have some long drives where they go down the field and score, but they don't have that big play threat like Russell Wilson and the Seahawks can do on any given play with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I guess the other matchup is, you know, the Seahawks run game with Chris Carson questionable, Carlos Hyde doubtful. Might end up being a Travis Homer game. You know, Seahawks are playing that kind of close to the vest right now. Who's going to be their starting running back? So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be, you know, one of those divisional games where it could go either way. But I think that after last week, Russell Wilson not having a good game against Arizona, them losing at the end, they're going to come out angry. I mean, they can't afford to lose 2 divisional games in a row. Not with this year and this playoff scenario with all 4 teams in the NFC West starting to look good again. I think the Seahawks got this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even after last week's performance, you still can't pick against Russell Wilson, especially at home in Seattle. He's going to be cooking. I think you nailed it. It's going to come down to Russell Wilson versus Jimmy G. And both of the running games are pretty lackluster, even though the Seahawks defense is, you know, not as good as people think they are. Jimmy G is not going to win this game alone with his arm. Jimmy G is a game manager. He's not that guy who you can trust to throw 30, 35 times and win you a football game. That's just not Shanahan's offense. It's not Garoppolo as a quarterback. So I'm going with the Seahawks, Joe. You said everything I was about to say. You still can't pick against Russ. I mean, last week they lost, but they still put up 34 points. So definitely going with the Seahawks. Jon-Michael, how about yourself, 49ers Seahawks?
Yeah, y'all covered it all. I mean, the Cardinals, they're a great team this year. So that's why you know, they had a rough week last week. The Seahawks did against them. But without the big run game threats in this game, I do see Garoppolo making some good plays, you know, throwing it deep, you know, connecting a couple times. But Russell Wilson, you know, he's dominant when he needs to be, and this is a week where he needs to be. So I'm going with the Seahawks as well.
Awesome. And that wraps up only 3 4 o'clock games this week, and now we're moving to your guys' game, the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. Currently, I have the Eagles as an 11-point favorite. The over-under is at 43. Joe, I'll let you kick it off and lead this game discussion. So take it away, my man.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm really excited. It's Dallas week. It's when you know, every Eagles fan just kind of gets up and gets ready. This is a game that we better win. Before we get into it, you know, as a fellow Eagles fan, my little brother Jon-Michael would love to hear a little bit from you about you know, what you know, some of your favorite Eagles versus Cowboys memories, or Eagles memories specifically, and you know why you hate the Cowboys. So I'll start with Jon-Michael, and then you know we'll go from there.
Well, I'd say the biggest reason I hate the Cowboys, like I said, I touched on it earlier, it's the fans. You know, every time they win a game, it could be the most pointless game, but they win it and they just have to rub it in everyone's faces. Quite like Steelers fans, I'm not gonna lie, but that's probably why I despise the Cowboys so much. I mean, I was never a fan of Tony Romo. Got to respect the guy, but he made too many plays at times where I didn't want that to happen.
Facts.
Favorite memory as an Eagles fan, besides winning the Super Bowl, of course, I really loved seeing the 70-yard plus passes by Michael Vick to Deshaun Jackson back in the day. Not even back in, but when we had both of that, or when we had Vic, and that was just always magical. The ball would just stay in the air for so long, and yeah, when Deshaun Jackson was in his prime too, just watching him perform as an elite punt returner and an elite wide receiver, very exciting to watch. That was when our defense wasn't great, but we had the threats on offense.
Yeah, no, that's also one of my favorite memories. The 2010 Eagles. I love watching those highlights. I mean, we were just stacked with Michael Vick at quarterback, Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Jason Avant at receiver, LaShawn McCoy in the backfield, great offensive line. That season, you know, I really thought we were going all the way. I remember we watched the Eagles-Packers game in the playoffs together, and, you know, the Packers got that game-clinching interception, and we lost, and I cried because I really thought that was it. But it was that was a fun year, great memory. One of my favorite, most recent memories for the Eagles Cowboys was last year. Week 17 comes down to the in Philly. Eagles are banged up. Cowboys have had the advantage all season. No reason why they shouldn't win. But the Eagles pulled it off at home last year in a defensive struggle to win the division. That was awesome. And a couple of years before that, I think when Chip Kelly was here and Sam Bradford was our starting quarterback, we had a close game against the Cowboys, went to overtime. Sam Bradford hits Jordan Matthews on like a crossing route, and Jordan Matthews.
Remember him?
I know, throwback when everyone thought he was going to be nice, when in reality he just had a lot of receptions because of Chip kelly's offense. So that was a really fun year. For this game specifically, getting a little back on track. Sorry, Tim.
Fine.
This game, the interesting thing with this game is all the injuries. I mean, the Cowboys have almost as many injuries as the Eagles. Both of our offensive lines are banged up. I mean, the Cowboys are down to their second or third string left tackle. They still have their starting guard. They're on their third string right guard, or their third string center. Their right guard, Zach Martin, should be back after passing concussion protocol. But then they also have a backup undrafted rookie at right tackle. So their offensive line is decimated just as much as ours. Our defensive line is starting to get healthy. I think that this is a game where our D-line just dominates that Cowboys O-line. Ben DiNucci is starting at quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Rookie out of James Madison University. Yep. Doesn't even look like he should be in the NFL. He looks like he's still a high school quarterback because he's so scrawny. I think I'm worried about Ben DiNucci's health this game. I'll put it that way. I think that like I said, the Eagles D-line is going to dominate. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Malik Jackson, Derek Barnett. Everyone's going to have a good game against the Cowboys. I don't see their offense getting this going at all. On the flip side, with our offense, we're going up against the worst defense in the NFL statistically right now. I mean, they have the worst run game right now. And, our O-line is starting to get healthy. Jason Peters is back. Lane Johnson is back. While Miles Sanders isn't back, if he had been, I would have expected him to have a huge game. I'm going to expect Boston Scott to do some good things on a Sunday night football in prime time against this terrible Cowboys defense. And, I mean, our offense better be able to get right against this defense. I mean, Jalen Reagor should be back. Dallas Goedert might be back. I'm really excited to see Jalen Reagor and Travis Fulgham on the field at the same time. I mean, those two right there give me a lot of hope for the future of the Eagles wide receiver position, since that's been such a tough spot for the Eagles to find success. I'm really excited to see them both on the field at the same time, and hopefully, be able to make Wentz's life easy. I'm going to go with the Eagles 38-10 in this game.
All right.
38-10 points by the Cowboys in the fourth quarter.
Jon-Michael, any additional thoughts? I assume you're going Eagles, so any additional thoughts, and what's the score of this game?
Yeah, you can put me down for the Eagles, and honestly, I feel like the over-under was a bit high for this game, just based on the fact that both teams don't really look that great this year. Our defense, I think, is going to perform very well. I don't know about Carson Wentz. I don't know about the over-under. I think I would go with the under on the over-under. I'm thinking the score here probably going to be 24-8. That's the score I'm going for.
24-8. Cowboys go for 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got it. They're down 20.
Yeah, they're going to need it.
Yeah, they need all the points they can get.
Yeah, I mean, this is an obvious pick. I'm going with the Eagles here. I'm very interested to see Ben DiNucci because he was a winner at James Madison. James Madison has been consistently in the Final Four and the championship game for 1AA in college football. So he does know how to win. But this Cowboys offensive line is just so decimated, might be even more decimated than the Eagles offensive line, believe it or not. And I think the Eagles D-line is going to eat. Zeke is going to have a big day receiving. I think DiNucci's going to be looking at him a lot, so hopefully the Eagles can put a linebacker or something on him to watch him out of the passing game. But
Nick Gary is injured, so Nick Gary went to the IR, so I think that might be an upgrade by addition by subtraction.
Love it. But yeah, I mean, we're all going with the Eagles. Let me just hop in on the score as well. I agree with you, Jon-Michael. This is, I don't want to say an ugly game, but this is going to be a low scoring game. And I think especially with all these injuries, the Eagles might just go up, 21-0 and be like, all right, let's just run the ball and coast against this bad run defense. I'm going to go Eagles. I'm going to go 21-3. I think the Cowboys only get 21-6. We'll give them 2 field goals. 21-6. Nice. Actually, no. They're going to get a touchdown and miss the 2-point conversion. I need a Zeke touchdown for fantasy. So Zeke will get at least 1 touchdown.
There you go.
And now that's it. That's it for Sunday Night Football. Great Conversation about Cowboys, Eagles, and Steelers, Ravens. Can't believe we get that both in the same week. That's really awesome. Yeah. And now Monday Night Football is probably going to be just as bad as Sunday Night Football. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New York Giants. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a 12-point favorite currently, and the over-under is at 45. Do we see the Giants winning this football game at all?
I do not, but the scenario that I would love to see, I mean, we know Tom Brady, when he was on the Patriots and faced the Giants in the Super Bowl twice, wasn't able to get that win. We saw it this year when Tom Brady on the Bucs went up against Nick Foles on the Bears, not able to get that win. So I think it would be really poetic, really ironic to see the Giants be able to, fend off Tom Brady and somehow sneak this win out. I don't see it happening with Daniel Jones not really playing that great this year, taking a little bit of a step back from his rookie year. No Saquon. The Bucs defense is really good, so I don't think the Giants offense is going to be able to put up many points. Is Antonio Brown playing this week, or does he still have one more week?
He's suspension is lifted after this week. It's 8-week suspension.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, we know Chris Godwin is going to be out this week with some foot surgery, I believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully Mike Evans is able to have a good game. I could see Evans and Gronkowski really going off. Maybe Scotty Miller out of nowhere again. So we'll see, but I don't really think that the Bucs run game is going to be able to get going against the Giants. The Giants have been surprisingly a little bit better against the run than people have given them credit for. So I think it's going to be Tom Brady throwing the ball. I think they should win this easily. But I think just because of, the Tom Brady versus the Giants matchup, that could be something that's kind of talked about a lot this game and, might be in the back of Tom Brady's head. We'll see.
Eli Manning comes out of retirement.
Exactly.
Tom Brady's just like, no. Jon-Michael, I mean, any other thoughts from this Bucs-Giants game? Do you have the Buccaneers winning, I assume?
I do have the Buccaneers winning this one. I love how you said that would be poetic, Joseph. I mean, well said. And I agree. I think that would just be amazing to watch. Got to respect Tom Brady, but I mean, if he's just going to keep losing to the same people all the time or the same teams, then might as well keep it going. Yeah, keep a streak going.
That would be nice. See some Eli face out of Daniel Jones. I think that's it's a requirement if you're the starting quarterback for the New York Giants that you have to be able to do the Eli face, and Daniel Jones might do it even better than Eli does.
Love that. Well, hey, we're all in the Buccaneers for Monday Night Football, and that'll wrap up Week 8 of the NFL season. Jon-Michael, thank you so much for being our guest today. If you want to be like him, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment your pick of the week, straight up, over, under, spread, whatever you want. But Jon-Michael, any final thoughts, any final words from you?
I was just going to say thanks again. I mean, you guys doing great. You guys are very well versed in the league, and you're just keeping up very well, communicating really great to each other and to the viewers and listeners. I had one thing, and it was to Joseph about my intro. You said that I come from the prairies of West Virginia. Have you been to West Virginia?
The plains of the Serengeti in West Virginia.
It's a very mountainous state, my friend.
I haven't been there, but I know there's not much out there.
But no, I mean, I'll be watching. I'll be liking and commenting on you guys' videos.
Whenever you get reception in West Virginia, right?
Huh?
Whenever you get reception in West Virginia, you'll be watching and commenting?
I got great reception here. I don't know what you mean. This is the dorm life reception.
There you go.
I don't know if you guys saw, but I picked up Antonio Brown in our fantasy league like last week. I mean, I got on top of that real quick. And I mean, I'm excited to see him come back.
Yeah, definitely going to be fun. I remember having him last year for that 1 week, and he scored a touchdown, but that was it. But kudos to you. Hopefully it works out until we play. I think we already played, but we'll see in the playoffs. Joey D, any final thoughts on week 8 of the season and just everything in general?
Yeah, I mean, if the Eagles this week, it's going to be bad. I mean, like this is a game. Like if they do not win this game, they should not show up on Monday at the NovaCare facility for practice. I mean, my God, like they need to win this game. I can't wait to see, that matchup as well as the Steelers and Ravens game. I think that's going to be just, a huge measuring point of, two of the better teams in the NFL and where everyone's at. So I'm really excited to see, how all these games shape up and, what it finishes as. I mean, if one team in the Ravens-Steelers game, is dominant over the other, that's going to say a lot, about them for the rest of the year. It's kind of the same with the Eagles and Cowboys. I mean, if the Eagles are able to dominate the Cowboys, maybe they do get things together to finish the season strong. If it's a close game or the Cowboys end up winning, my God, the NFC East, just change it all, just throw it all away. Let's start scratch.
We already did. We already threw it all away. Yeah.
We started with the Washington football team. But.
Oh yeah. Right now the Washington football team
they're looking
like
good.
The biggest threat in the
they're looking good. Hate to say it.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing is for the Ravens, if we lose this game, I'm not going to be worried like you will, Joe. But tomorrow is November, and our November is our toughest slate. We have Steelers, Colts, Patriots, Titans, Steelers, probably the 4 teams that Ravens fans hate the most. So we definitely got to win. Luckily, our December is like Cowboys, Browns, Jaguars, Giants. So that's an easy December, but November is going to be a little bit tough. So hopefully we can get this first one. That way we can get the next couple out of the way. I'm excited for week 8. Once again, thank you, Jon-Michael, for coming on the show. We'll definitely have to have you back on. And then until then, everybody, like this video, watch it. Our pick's great. I don't know. But then check back on Wednesday where we will post our recap. Hopefully we're both happy. Hopefully we're celebrating because it could be ugly if we don't. But definitely come back and check us out then. But until then, everybody, enjoy some football and have a good day.